Okay, so we have reached hole 15 at Nicklaus North. Fantastic backdrop that we've got in glorious high definition here at HD Golf at Let's Golf in Horley. Have a look at the Canadian mountains that we've got as part of our backdrop as we play this hole. That's why I wanted to feature this hole as a bonus hole. I love that tee shot. We've got the chalets down the right hand side and we can just admire the backdrop that we've got. So a good par 4, a strong par 4. Hazards that come into play beyond 175 yards off the tee. That bunker up the left hand side there comes into play at 175. 200 yards, the bunker on the right hand side comes into play. So we've got our hazards, as we can see, here and here. Okay, so we're looking at trying to play the ball a little bit more sort of middle to maybe left half of the fairway, which is going to give us a straighter shot into that green. So I'm going to advance the ball further off the tee so I can take the hazards out of the equation on the tee shot. So I'm going to be hitting driver on this 387 yard par 4 to advance the ball beyond the bunker on the right hand side, play it as far down as possible. For the club golfer, just make sure you consider your distance and know your distances off your tee with your tee clubs to make sure that you consider the bunker on the left and the bunker on the right hand side. If you can fly the ball beyond 200 yards, down the left hand side will be more safe. It's going to give you a straighter view at that green and keep you away from that big hazard on the right edge of the green. So, club of choice for me, driver off the tee. Distance between 280 and 290. So a little driving tip for you. A good friend of mine just had a recent article in today's Golfer, Lee Cox, specialises in long driving. Great tip, he had an impact bag showing how to hit, how to get the correct spin loft, which is the attack angle of the club and the angle of loft that you show the golf ball through impact, making sure that you get the correct spin loft to A, launch the ball, and then spin the ball correctly to make it climb, so you get that correct trajectory and get that ball up in the air high enough and keep it up there long enough. So a good tip for you is to make sure that you hit the ball on the up. So you can see here I'm just going to push down on the toes of my right foot and I'm going to turn my belt buckle out of the way so that I can get the shaft leaning forwards just a fraction, but the ascending angle of the club going upwards into the golf ball, so I can reach impact with the club halfway, get the ball just part way up on the club face wall. We want it just above centre to allow us to get that loft and that launch and the correct spin. So you can see that again as I show you that position. A little bit of pressure on my toes of my right foot, turn my belt buckle through, feel like my head is dropping back. My left shoulder climbs up and I can hit that ball on the upswing, catch that ball right out of that sweet spot, just above that sweet spot, and hit that ball high into the air. Okay, so let's try a drive. Okay, so I've hit that one straight down the middle. I've given myself a nice straight shot into that green. Distance was between my just under 280, but between my 280 and 290 is what I estimate with my tee shot with the driver. So I'd be happy with that. I've got 112 yards into the green. I've got a straight look at the middle of the green without having to cross any hazards. So my shot into this green is going to be with a gap wedge, making sure that I've got enough club to reach the middle or the back of the green. Again, another little tip, I keep always putting emphasis on making sure you have more club going into the green than less and not enough. So I'm going to go with a gap wedge and I'm going to play this straight at the middle of the green. Distance just slightly reduced, not a full gap wedge. Okay, so knocked it just inside of 15 feet. Be happy with that. So, that little reduction in club length there, coming down, getting my glove hand at the middle of the handle and my right hand down the bottom half, allowed me just to reduce the leverage that I can create with the club and reduce my speed and ultimately my distance that I hit the ball. So I've got a little just under 15 feet then, 14.4 feet. I can see the break is slightly right to left, however I'm probably going to be aiming no more than just outside that right edge, making sure my speed is correct because it's slightly uphill. So I'm going to get a good line. I'm going to pick a spot in front of the golf ball about 6 inches on that line just right of the hole, and then get the correct speed to roll this ball 15 feet. Okay, knocked it inside my gimme range. Be happy with that. 2-putt par. A little bit of practice, I think, for this driving range pro on my short game. However, 2-putt par is I'd be happy with a bit more putting practice. I'd be putting that in one. So that's hole 15. So just to recap, make sure you know your distances off the tee. You know to play the ball middle or left half is going to open up the green a little bit more. Then you've got a sensible shot into the green, making sure you just get your distance control right. If you're having to reduce the distance, make sure that little tip I showed you about gripping down the handle. And a pretty straightforward green, not a massive slopes on it there, so we would expect maybe a 2-putt par. If you're outside of that 15-20 feet range, make sure you aim for that dustbin lid, stop that ball within that dustbin lid of the hole.